the tyranny is not one in which this person is seeking total power. The tyranny is in the dismantling of the liberal democracy to create a void in which anything can come, anything irrational. To what extent do you think this is the West, and you see this that there comes a point at which mere boredom is getting people to just they have actually what is, by any real objective measure, an extraordinarily dynamic and successful country and economy, an incredibly diverse country that is somehow functioning basically. How do you turn that into such a dire state that we've got to take someone like this on board to fix it? And obviously we also need to talk about social media and the way that people have. I look at X, for example, and it honestly appalls me now. I mean, it is simply a series of racial provocations. It is. If I see another fight.
Yeah. So
I just can't. I mean, I know particularly my algorithm. Yeah. They're pumping this at me. They're pumping racial hatred at me every day.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say that, because I said that on my podcast. I haven't heard many people comment on this, and I just assumed I'm in a somewhat unusual position, because I deleted my Twitter account 2 years ago, and now when I'm on it, which is rare, but I do go on it just to see breaking news occasionally, and I have a totally naive account. I'm not following anyone. No one is following me. I just, I think I have as unbiased a look at the algorithm at the homepage as you can have if you're on it at all. And if I ask myself, what is this algorithm attempting to persuade me of? It is attempting to make me a racist asshole. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's showing me security cam footage of black guys beating up white guys, and virtually always and then random acts of violence where, I think the one I mentioned the other day was, just 3 teenagers sit down on a subway platform, and then one touches the third rail and gets electrocuted, and her friend tries to pull her off, and he gets electrocuted. I mean, it's just faces of death footage that just appalling footage, and it's like, it's just the pornography of death and racial grievance is basically what I'm getting advertised to me on this platform.
That is my impression too. I'm also on a burner account, as it were, so I'm not commenting at all or being part of it. I am observing what is being fed to me, and it is vile. It really is vile. And not that, but we have Elon Musk, who is at this point also commandeering. I mean, why do I want to hear from that asshole every 5 times a day, which is what I'm getting?
There's a lot of him and death videos. Yeah, it's incredible.
It affects you. The thing is that even if you're not, it has an emotional, I think, and a psychological impact, even if you're rationally resisting every part of it. And it's deeply destabilizing to a democratic discourse. And what happens, of course, is that the democratic discourse completely collapses in a way, and then you surrender to this dude. You surrender to this guy is going to do it. It's how authoritarianism works. You just disorient people, or you throw so much crap at them, and you also throw all sorts of innuendos at them. In the end, you're so befuddled, you just say, "Oh, let him have it. Let him do it. Let's see what happens. Let him give it to him."
Well,
now,
one thing I don't understand, though, is that the asymmetry, the Teflon nature of his reputation, the fact that nothing sticks, no matter how horrible to him, and no matter how obvious and obviously true it is, it just doesn't stick. That seems to run all the way down, even into the fever swamp of MAGA, among the QAnon-addled conspiracists. So, I mean, take this obsession with Jeffrey Epstein and the notion that rich billionaire types and Hollywood celebrities are just feasting on on underage girls and boys, and it's just a horror movie where you have people like Obama, and I forget who else is on this list. I think it's the Obamas and Oprah and Tom Hanks and a few other random celebrities are drinking, extracting adrenochrome from the bodies of teenagers and drinking their blood, et cetera, et cetera. So take that at face value for 10 seconds if you're able, and then ask, how has this not blown back on Trump? I mean, Trump was a friend of Epstein's. We know he spent a lot of time with him. They've been photographed together a lot. He brought Alexander Acosta into his cabinet as the Secretary of Labor. Acosta was the U.S. attorney in South Florida who dismissed the federal charges against Epstein in 2008. Right? How, if you're full-on MAGA conspiracist, Epstein didn't kill himself, how is Trump your guy? Right? Trump looks as sullied by the Epstein phenomenon as anyone we can add to that list.
This is what it means to be in a cult, I think. It is just that anything can be explained away. And the question is, why is a cult so appealing to so many people? And I think it's a way of not thinking. I think it's actually a way of rejecting the core basis of the American way of life, which is self-government. The idea you want to be governed by someone else, not yourself, but hand it all over to some guy. I alone will fix it, is a very tempting thing, especially when you're also confused and don't know what to believe.